The 365th Infantry Regiment was formed in 1917 as part of the U.S. Army's rapid expansion for World War I. Unlike many other regiments, its creation was shaped by the realities of racial segregation in early 20th century America. African American volunteers and draftees from across the country, farmers, factory workers, laborers, students, were placed into racially segregated units. The 365th Infantry Regiment became one of 4 infantry regiments assigned to the newly created 92nd Infantry Division, the only African American combat division in the American Expeditionary Forces during World War I. Despite unequal treatment, the men of the 365th brought with them resilience, community strength, and a determination to prove themselves as soldiers and citizens. Training for the 365th took place at Camp Funston, Kansas, where black soldiers trained under predominantly white officers. Facilities were segregated, opportunities limited, and racial prejudice common. Yet the regiment forged itself into a capable fighting force through discipline, mutual support, and a fierce sense of identity. Soldiers trained in trench warfare, bayonet combat gas defense rifle, and machine gun marksmanship platoon-level assault tactics. By spring 1918, they had transformed from civilians into soldiers ready for deployment overseas. In June 1918, the 365th Infantry Regiment sailed for France. The voyage marked a profound transition. For many soldiers, it was their first time leaving the United States, and for all of them, it meant stepping into a global conflict at its peak. On arrival, the regiment underwent final preparations alongside other elements of the 92nd Division. They trained under French advisors, learned to operate French weapon systems, and familiarized themselves with the trench lines of the Western Front. The 365th's first major combat assignment came in the Sandier sector of the Vosges Mountains. This area demanded constant vigilance, dense forests, German patrols, artillery harassment, and treacherous terrain. Here, the regiment experienced night patrols in no man's land, trench raids, sniper fire supply, shortages, the ever-present threat of gas attacks. Although new to combat, the 365th gained valuable experience and demonstrated competence under fire, earning respect from French units fighting alongside them. In late September 1918, the 365th moved into action during the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest American operation of the war. The regiment encountered fortified German machine gun positions, shattered woodland terrain, muddy, impassable ground, poor visibility, and disjointed communications. Despite difficult conditions and inconsistent support from higher command, the soldiers advanced, held their positions under fire, and performed their missions with determination. Individual acts of bravery were common. Messengers running across fire-swept fields, platoon leaders rallying scattered units, and riflemen holding the line against counterattacks. The regiment suffered significant casualties, but contributed meaningfully to the final Allied push that forced Germany to seek an armistice. Following the ceasefire on November 11, 1918, the 365th Infantry Regiment continued serving in France, performing occupation-related duties, securing key positions, controlling prisoner movements, and assisting in stabilization operations. For soldiers who had fought under the dual burdens of war and racial prejudice, the armistice was both a relief and a moment of pride. They had proven their capability and courage on the world stage. In early 1919, the regiment sailed back to the United States, arriving to parades and public celebrations in some cities, but also returning to a nation still deeply divided by racial discrimination. Despite these contradictions, the service of the 365th Infantry Regiment stood as undeniable proof of African American patriotism, skill, and heroism. The regiment was demobilized shortly thereafter, its soldiers returning to civilian life. Although the 365th Infantry Regiment was not reactivated for World War II, its legacy lived on in the continued service of African American soldiers throughout the U.S. Army. The regiment's contributions included helping break the German lines during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, proving black troops could fight with the best units in the Allied armies, strengthening the foundation for later desegregation of the U.S. armed forces, inspiring future generations of service members. Their courage in World War I laid moral and historical groundwork for the civil rights movement that followed.